So, you've been studying for months, you feel like you know the material, but what if I told you there are a handful of traps that catch out 90% of IGCSE ICT students? It's true. Most marks are lost in the very same places year after year. So in the next few minutes, we're going to map out those traps so you can just sidestep them completely. Welcome. We're about to crack the IGCSE ICT code together. We're going to break down how to turn the trickiest parts of this exam into your biggest strengths. So here's our game plan. First, we'll decode the exam papers themselves. Then we'll dive deep into the two biggest challenges, the theory trap and those pesky practical pitfalls. And we'll finish up by giving you an ultimate revision toolkit for success. Sound good? Let's go. All right, first up, cracking the ICT code. You know, to really succeed on this exam, you need a guide who knows the terrain inside and out. For this explainer, our guide is Ansar Robotics. They are experts in helping students master the exact skills this exam demands. They really focus on the areas where students struggle the most. And, they've come up with some pretty fun and engaging ways to master those tricky techniques. You can't win the battle without knowing the battleground, right? So this next section is all about decoding the exam papers themselves. Okay, so the exam is split into 3 papers, but just look at that weighting. The theory paper, paper 1, is a whopping 40% of your entire grade. So many students just focus on the practical stuff, but this chart shows that your theory knowledge is absolutely critical for a top score. So what are you actually up against? Well, paper 1 covers a massive 21 theory topics. Paper 2 is all about documents, databases, and presentations. And paper 3 tests you on spreadsheets and web authoring. That huge mix is exactly why having a focused strategy is so important. Since theory is worth so much, let's tackle that first major hurdle, mastering the theory trap. On this paper, believe me, precision is power. So here's the core issue. The theory paper is not just a memory test. The examiners don't want you to just list off facts. They want to see precise terminology and a real deep understanding of how technologies work and why you'd use them. Honestly, this is where most students get tripped up. So how do you beat it? First, you've got to master the command words. State is a quick one-line answer. Evaluate means you need to give a detailed analysis. Second, always focus on the pros and cons. That's a goldmine for marks. And third, use active recall. Don't just read your notes. Make flashcards for key terms like phishing or VPN and test yourself constantly. Okay, let's talk about the practical papers. This is where we focus on avoiding those common pitfalls and turning those mark-losing traps into your biggest triumphs. The biggest danger in the practical exams is that one tiny, seemingly insignificant error can just snowball. Seriously, it can cause a cascade effect that wipes out marks across an entire task. Precision here is everything. And this right here, this illustrates the point perfectly. These come straight from the official examiner reports, the top 3 mark traps. Number 1, forgetting the dollar signs for absolute cell referencing. That breaks all your formulas when you drag them. 2, setting up database relationships the wrong way, which means your queries just fail. And the big one, submitting a blurry or incorrect screenshot. Even if your work was flawless, a bad screenshot gets you 0 marks. These are exactly the kinds of high-stakes skills that targeted practice helps you perfect. Okay, let's test one of those skills. Quick pop quiz. You've got a product list in vertical columns, and you need to look up a price automatically. Which function are you reaching for? HLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, or lookup V? If you said VLOOKUP, you're absolutely right. The V stands for vertical. The source material calls functions like this heavy hitters for a reason. Mastering them is a surefire way to just rack up marks in paper 3. Let's try another one. Hitting that number 1 mark trap we just talked about. A tax rate is fixed in cell B1. You write a formula, and you need to drag it down for 100 other products. How do you reference B1 so it stays locked in place? And the answer is B $. That's absolute cell referencing. The dollar signs lock both the column and the row, making sure your formula always points back to B1, no matter where you copy it. Getting this right is absolutely fundamental for avoiding that whole cascade of errors. So, really, the takeaway is simple. Focus your revision on these high-impact areas. Think of this table as your cheat sheet. Master command words, VLOOKUP, and databases. Know your CSS. And please, be ready for security threats. They show up on nearly every single theory paper. Okay, we've identified the challenges. Now let's build your arsenal for success with the ultimate revision toolkit. Here's exactly how to prioritize your study time. Those 5-star topics, safety and security and data analysis, they're non-negotiable. You have to know them inside and out. Right behind them, you've got system lifecycle and web authoring. Use this as your guide for smart, efficient revision. And these are the tools you should be using. The source material calls the official Cambridge Examiner reports gold mines for a reason. They literally tell you exactly what mistakes students have made before. Use them with the syllabus, textbooks, and revision sites. And for the practical skills, look, there is no substitute for hands-on practice in Microsoft Office and watching YouTube walkthroughs. So, what's the main takeaway from all of this? Success in IGCSE ICT isn't about pulling all-nighters. It's about studying smarter. It's about identifying these critical areas, the theory traps, the practical pitfalls, and focusing your energy right there. So we'll leave you with this question. You know the code, you've seen the map, and you have the toolkit. Are you ready to master the techniques that will make the difference between a good grade and a great one?